Hello everyone, and welcome to my latest VodCast. I apologize for the tardiness, but January and February were very busy months. We did take time out in February to observe Peace Week. One of my favorite activities of that week is the peace egg. Every third grader has a peace egg that's been hollowed out. It's very fragile. And they're given it in the morning and they're asked to carry it all day. What they come to find is that the peace egg is a metaphor for peace itself. It's fragile, it's vulnerable, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of attention and a lot of care. Actually, most of the peace eggs make it through the day. The highlight of Peace Week this year was a visit from Chelsea Clinton, a graduate of Sidwell Friends School. She spoke to me and to a couple students before she took to a capacity audience to give her message. Chelsea, it's so good to see you, especially under the roof of another Quaker school. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Bo. I'm so happy to be here with you. You've known me for more than 20 years.
A long time.
Which is amazing. So I just am so grateful to have this chance to be here with you at Friends this evening, and we'll always try to show up whenever you ask. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, thank you. And we're joined by two reporters from the student newspaper. And Chelsea, I guess I have one question.
Oh, sure.
Now 20 years after we were both at Sidwell Friends, I wonder, why do you think your parents chose a Quaker school?
I think my family, it really was a family decision, chose Sidwell for a couple of pretty simple reasons. When my mother and I came to Washington to look at schools and we took a few different tours, Sidwell was the place that we just felt most comfortable and where I could really envision myself being able to be treated as a student and not primarily as my parents' daughter, where I really liked the group of kids who took me on my tour, and I could imagine, or I hoped I could imagine, being friends with them one day. So it was really, I think, the environment and the students, and clearly my parents thought I would get a good education scholastically as well as ethically, and I'm so grateful that we made that choice.
Good, good. Students, would you like to introduce yourselves and ask a question?
I'm Zara. I'm a junior at Friends.
I'm Naeed. I'm also a junior.
So going off what Bo was saying, what Quaker aspect of Sidwell do you think really has helped you most in life after high school?
Well, I have to confess that my only real experience with Quakerism was through the prism of Sidwell, so it's hard for me to distinguish what I found and continue to find so impactful about Sidwell that was unique to Sidwell and what may be kind of inevitably a product of the Quaker ethos that surrounds Sidwell as it does Friends, where we're sitting this evening. And I think a couple of things really have stayed with me. One was an emphasis on competing only with myself. Kind of that my scholastic or other achievements at Sidwell would be measured against my previous efforts and my potential, not against what someone else was doing or not doing. And I think that was hugely helpful for me because I'm quite a competitive person, and I think it was good that it be sort of directed at my own potential and not outwardly directed. And I don't think I would have that same grounding without Sidwell. The second, which very much reinforced the ethos that my family raised me with, is a commitment to service. That service is not optional in life for those of us that have been blessed. That service is a responsibility for those of us who have been blessed. And I'm grateful that that came not only from my parents, but was reinforced really every day with my experience at Sidwell. So I think there were other aspects that were important as well, kind of the way conflicts were resolved, the way conflict was even talked about, but I would have to say kind of the sense of competition against one's own potential and the sense of kind of a daily commitment to service are two gifts that Sidwell really gave me.
Awesome. Okay, we were also wondering, like, sort of, we know you went to Stanford, so sort of what was the transition going from a Friends school like Sidwell to a huge institution like Stanford?
Well, I was really well prepared, and I didn't realize how well prepared I was until I got to to Stanford, and I took all the classes that at least at the time were required. I admit I have no idea if they're the same requirements now, but I had to take a freshman writing class. I had to take a freshman class that was just at the time called Civilizations. I'm sure that has a different name now and a different focus. And I just was so much more well prepared. I was more well prepared in my critical thinking. I was more well prepared in my writing. I was more well prepared in my comfort in asking questions and kind of figuring out how to wade through the unknown than many of my classmates were. So I'm really grateful for the scholastic equipment and scaffolding that Sidwell gave me. I think the biggest, though, shock to the system was going from a small environment to a big environment, but that was one that I consciously chose. I wanted to go to a big institution. I also wanted to go to a big research institution because I was really interested in engaging in research while I was an undergraduate, and I had those opportunities, and I wouldn't have had the same breadth of opportunities if I'd gone to a smaller institution. So although it was a little bit of a shock to the system, it was one that I really wanted and welcomed.
Well, Chelsea, thank you so much.
Bo,
it's
thank
great,
you so much.
Great to hear from you. Thank you, students.
Thank you.
And let's go into the meeting house.
Great. Thank you both. Thank you both
Okay.
very much.